Well, I am kind of wondering because there will be a point where I feel like we're just going to run out of server space to an extent, and they're like, all right, you know what? We gotta make the chop at some point. It's either the environment or conversations about bullshit from like 2012. What's it gonna fucking be? So I honestly feel like at some point, like I was wondering, like at some point, this podcast or any number of things, but just think of it, just make it local. This podcast will be like stored somewhere for years and years, and it's not saying it's going to be anything special that stands out from other people's things, but it's out there. But I'm thinking like, no, at some point they're like, no, it doesn't have enough views. Chop this fucking thing. I can just see that. Like, because part of me is maybe okay with that because I'm just like, you know what? I cringe at things I said from like just last week. How bad am I going to cringe at something I said back in 2012 when we were seeing like Dark Knight Rises or whatever?
Well, funny enough, I always think about that too, because that was like the initial thing back in the day, is that there was that period where podcast, hosting sites really had you by the balls because they realized that YouTube made a mistake early on by letting people upload shit for free. So those podcasters, sites like Podbean and what the hell were some of the other ones we used to use? God, I'm almost drawing a blank on whatever.
What I mainly remember.
That was the one where they charge you $100 a year so you could put up like 10 gigs worth of podcasts or something like that. Maybe it was 20. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, at least Spotify came along and fixed that problem real quick and said, "Oh no, you can upload them for free. Oh, see you, Podbean, out of here." And of course, YouTube's always been fine for dumping stuff on there. But that's what I always think about. There's just so much shit people have dumped on, throughout time. And it's even like when you go to like the internetarchive.org. It kind of bothers me when people start uploading shit that shouldn't really be there. Like, I think that place is great for, I want to go look up old magazines. I want to look up old books I can't find anywhere. Maybe some versions of movies that don't normally exist. Perfect. I like the Internet Archive for that. The second I start seeing people upload their, fucking shit on there, like podcast or like fucking review videos, like, no. Let's Plays, none of that. Get that shit out of there because that's only going to make it so much harder to search for stuff now. Like, not everything needs to be jammed onto the internetarchive.org.
I guess part of me, and I don't want to get here, I don't want to get like too philosophical about it because I know I'm not on the show as much. And going a few episodes back I was on, which was probably like by this point, like a few months back. I am a firm believer if you don't use it, you'll lose it on podcasting. Because there's an episode I was just like, oh yeah, this is the one episode we just recorded a little bit ago. Let me listen to this. Like, then I clearly had not a lot going on that week, and I'm like, God damn it, what the fuck was I? So I don't want to. So it's like maybe I should wait till I read a few comics or some shit like that to come back on, or see a couple of movies. So or the top 10 or whatever. But so I don't want to get too into the weeds with it. That said, I think it's kind of interesting, kind of like, because if you could look back at old diaries or something from like the early 1900s or late 1800s or something, just get a vibe of like just like Dies Judith, the winter is cold and chills a man's bone to the very soul of his being, that kind of shit. I think that in itself can be kind of interesting, but when you actually hear the people talk, like, yeah, man, I don't know, I thought this movie was kind of fucking gay, and it was like, I don't know, I mean, I like the first Underworld, but the second Underworld kind of, I mean, you get to see her tits, which that's cool, but I mean, so it's just like, I can't imagine, like, no, we need to hold on to this one. This one we got to keep.
This is the diary entry that's, well worth it, you know what I mean? The guy's going to go into Underworld 3 next. It's a prequel, What if the movie gets lost? At least we'll have this guy's review.
Yeah,
he's eating a bag of chips while he's talking on there. It's really fucking annoying, but somehow it's kind of a novelty thing. He just didn't know any better.
Rise of the Lycans was lost to time due to the Fifth World War. This right here, though. This is the only piece of data anywhere that explains it. So I'm like, yeah, so the guy, the dude with the beard from the first one, he's the bad guy. He's the main character in this one, and yeah. I mean, it was still it was like they're like in England or some shit, and like just like
This is the only footage. You know what it could be? It will be like Rise of the Lycans will be like the new Shazam Sinbad, where it somehow, some way got lost the
people get
time,
mixed around.
but people keep remembering it. So there'll be this like people will be like, dude, don't you remember Rise of the Lycans? It never existed. There was no Underworld prequel. Did it have Kate Beckinsale in it? Well, no, it didn't.
Had a lady that looked like Kate Beckinsale, even though the first one, when they had the flashback, it's a blonde lady. So there's an inconsistency. And that guy made a big point of that in the interview.
See, and that's the thing, because here, if you had the podcaster review of Sinbad Shazam in '95 or whatever, like when he went to go see it in the cinemas or even rented on video, you could be like, oh, see, look, there's some record evidence that it did, exist.
You're already you're triple mixing it up, because it wasn't Sinbad Shazam. The movie was called Kazam, and it had Shaquille O'Neal. And people got confused when they would think of Kazam, they would think of Shazam, because Shazam's already a more established, well-known name. It's also more fun to say. So people would think of like, oh yeah, Shazam with Shaquille O'Neal, and then, Genie in the Boombox and all that kind of stuff. Befriends like most generic '90s white kid possible.
Yeah, that talks mad shit to fucking Shaq. The whole movie.
I remember this. We'll get to comics in a second, but I remember that movie. It was just, I don't know what came first. I'm assuming Space Jam came first, but we need to make some of that NBA whimsy magic for kids. And I remember the bad guy was like some evil, I don't remember what ethnicity he was. He was ethnically ambiguous is what I remember being. I haven't seen the movie since I was like a little kid, but I remember like the little kid was like a pickpocket for this guy. He's like, you got a magic boombox with a famous basketball player as a genie? Oh my, at some point, like, I don't know. He goes against his wish, or the thing where he wishes something, it comes back around. He's like, I wish for all the money in the world. The way he kills this guy, or he like makes him into a basketball and then he slams him down into a building or something. The thing collapses, like, and then the little kid is dead already. Like this guy pushed the kid off the fucking cliff or off the building.
Yeah.
So it got kind of real for a minute, and then Shazam like I miss you, man. I miss you. Like brings the kid back.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. No, I literally watched that movie about like 3 weeks ago or something like that for via VHS.
Person here.
Yeah, because I hadn't seen it since the '90s and whatnot. Ironically, I'm one of those I'm one of those other people though that remember there being a Sinbad Shazam one, but I could have swore there was like it had that same thing like Volcano and Dante's Peak or Deep Impact and Armageddon, where they doubled up on like somebody's got their genie movie, well we got our genie movie, and so on like that. And I was doing the thing too. I kept sending out text messages, like I'd send one out to Kyle, I sent one out to Cisco. I'd be like, you remember Sinbad Shazam? And they would send back to me like, oh yeah, I totally remember that one. I remember watching it, back in the day off TV and so on like that. And then you go, well, apparently due to time, it doesn't exist anymore. I think there was one of those things like it was like the Matrix, like a black cat walked by twice, and somehow, some way, fucking Sinbad Shazam got pulled into the Matrix.
Or it's like that movie Yesterday, where like only 5 people remember the Beatles.
Yeah. And one guy goes to exploit it.
Yeah, you, Kyle, and Cisco are the only ones who remember Sinbad Shazam.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just the guy who's gaslighting you, like, it never existed, man. What are you talking about? Sinbad Shazam, it was like the second biggest 90s children's film right behind Space Jam. Nobody remembers? Like, no one remembers Sinbad Shazam. I'm like, what are you talking? Sinbad Shazam, like what? No, it's like we gotta make Sinbad Shazam now. We gotta remind the people.
See, I refer to it's some type of government conspiracy test that they used, and the reason why they used this one, they didn't want to go with anything that was really going to stick around. They're like, we'll use the Sinbad Shazam one. No one's going to remember this one, right? They're not going to be like talking about. It's not like we're pulling out like Die Hard 3 or something out of like the Matrix or something.
Is it like Sinbad the comedian? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's Sinbad. The Sinbad's a Jingle All the Way.
Okay. I don't know this one. Then again, though, I mean, you say it, but I mean, I guess it could be. Now I'm curious.
I fell down the rabbit hole. I was looking down, like, I saw that there was other, like, Reddit threads where people talked about seeing it in cinemas, seeing it on home video, going to a friend's house and watching it, and so on. Because, strange enough, it was like 3 months ago, Buddy brought it up to me, like, and he's like, hey, you remember that Sinbad Shazam movie? I'm like, yeah, I remember that. Came out the same time, or give or take, around the Shaquille O'Neal one, too. He's like, doesn't exist, though. I'm like, get out of here. Try looking it up, you know? And see, I wonder if it's one of these things, because there's another one of those, like, Mandela effect things is, do you remember the No Fear kid that used to be on the T-shirt with the white hair, kind of punk rock looking, got the baggy pants, flexes, arms and so on like that? I was trying to tell Laura about that. I'm like, this thing was super popular. I remember, like, there was always kids in school that had this in the late 90s, early 2000s. I kid you not, if I go online, I cannot find that kid to save my life. I can't find him on eBay. I can't find him on just pictures on anywhere. Like, I cannot find that kid anywhere for the you look up, like, No Fear t-shirts from, like, the late 90s. I can't find him on any of those. I'll find the logo, I'll find that, but I cannot find that kid. I don't know what happened. I don't know why they would scrub him from life.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I never really... That kid was the main. I mean, I think maybe it was like a short limited run where they have products where they had that character, because that was the thing. Like, I wouldn't mind wearing No Fear T-shirt or whatever, but it would be like it couldn't have the kid on it, because that kid was just like, no, it was just one of those things. Now in hindsight, I'm like, you wouldn't catch me dead wearing a No Fear shirt. But for a while, I had No Fear hoodie. They're just kind of like, I just like the colors of it. There's a small little No Fear thing.
Yeah, it's probably probably comfortable. I think it probably was well made. Yeah,
It was.
Just a kid. He just reminded me, like, he was supposed to be like, he's like the late 90s Calvin. You know what I mean? Except for he doesn't give a shit. And he wears baggy pants. And look at him. He's at the Limp Bizkit concert right now. Where are you at?
There's a decal of him. It's not him pissing on whatever you don't like. He's literally shitting on it.
Yeah, it's just ass cheeks. They're like, well, we didn't really see it from that angle. Jesus, calm down there, No Fear kid. Do you even have a fucking name?
Dustin.
That's
he looked like a Dustin.
He
could have been.
He was originally going to be a Dustin checks in. You know what I mean? But instead, he kicked the monkey in the nuts.
He killed the monkey. Actually, they had to get a new monkey. No, he could be a Dustin. He could be a Travis. One of those.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. But as I said, I tried looking it up multiple times because I'm going to find this. And as I said, I was scouring eBay for it. I'm like, somebody's got to have a No Fear shirt for sale from like 1999.
It's out there somewhere.
It's out there. I believe it is. I'm not going crazy now. There was a No Fear kid. Just locked in that insane asylum like fucking Sam Neill and that John Carpenter movie. Shit,
he's the last person alive. Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, Mouth of Madness. That one. Yeah.
He's the last person alive and then sees the movie based on his book or whatever it was. Or
yeah, exactly. He's just inside the cell. There's just a bunch of No Fear kid pictures drawn all over the wall, drawn on my face,
painted with blood or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't allow pencils for me anymore, so I had to get creative.
Yeah. Here I am. How is he drawing? His arms are tied behind his back in a straitjacket.
Behold my life's work.
But yeah, beyond all that, we were just kind of talking about sort of some of the comic books we read, and of course that's Absolute Batman Volume 2, but there's some other ones too in this time period. It's one that I've been kind of getting back into recently. Well, just getting back into the world of this, but is Kevin Smith's been putting out a bunch of these, they're called like quick stops or whatever, and they're just like variations of like different moments in the View Askew universe, and each one might be like, one's kind of like a Mallrat story, one's a Clerks story, one's Chasing Amy type stuff, and so on like that. Clerks, all kinds of different things, but they're kind of cool, and I'm kind of glad just to sort of in a sense have new Kevin Smith stuff out there, and he's been, I think there's like 16 of these issues or something like that, and I'm only about maybe 4 or 5 of them into there, and then there's a couple other books he has too. He has one they wrote with Andy McElfresh and everything like that. I'm kind of curious. Really? Because there was that period where just like it's almost like Kevin Smith just dried up, and then of course he appeared on a podcast or so and like said that like he had a mental breakdown and all kinds of stuff. It's like, and I just felt like I felt bad. We could have been down there helping him. Like, well, what's going on here, and Just a recent time, I've been kind of going back and listening to like some old audio commentaries and so on like that. It started off, I listened to that Roadhouse one again with him and Scott Mosier, which is like literally like the most proto Smodcast episode ever, because it's before Smodcast. That's how old that commentary is.
It sounds like a Smodcast episode, but it's pre-Smodcast, and they don't start it because they just had like they're having a funny conversation about Roadhouse on like the Clerks 10 Blu-ray or DVD, and then like someone heard it like, you guys want to do a commentary for Roadhouse? Like, sure, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those ones like, well, we couldn't get Patrick Swayze to show up, so we'll get the next best thing.
Kevin Smith, I mean, I still love Kevin Smith, but I've fallen behind on Kevin Smith just because it's just like, I would always listen to Smodcast, and I was always listen to Edumacation, and listen to Fat Man on Batman. And then he stopped doing those more or less. Maybe he'll put out like a Smodcast like once a year or something, and it's not Scott Mosier, it's him interviewing someone else usually. And then every so often I'll just put on maybe like a Fat Man Beyond, where he and Mark Bernardin cover like comic book genre movie news, and that could be nice. That can kind of, but it's not the same thing as what I originally listened to him for. But at the same time, it was just like, it just kind of reminds me of early days of when we started podcasting and listening to him. But that was also a point where he had a lot of projects going on. And a more recent one, actually, maybe it's only a year old by this point, but he said like, actually, I started making a graphic novel a little bit ago, or writing a graphic novel about the lady who created the character Mubi. Because if you watch Dogma, when Matt Damon's given his bad guy speech and he goes over the history of the character Mubi, he says the lady's name. That's all we know about her. I'm literally writing her life story right now, and it is the most fucked up thing I've ever written so far. And I don't know if it ever went anywhere because he never finished Hit Somebody, or he never finished. We never got out Moose Jaws, so I don't know if he got this one done. But I was like, oh, that's intriguing, because usually when you think View Askew, you think comedy. But he's like, no, I'm doing like a dark drama within this comedy universe, which there's still comedy there.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really interesting. I mean, and that is kind of one of the downfalls, though, is Kevin Smith. He does that thing where he talks about stuff, like, and I get it, like, you're excited and everything like that, and you want to share. But sometimes there's something to be said, like, maybe don't bring the project up until it's kind of like, halfway there, because nothing's worse than hearing about something, kind of like Hit Somebody. Like, it sounds really badass, you want to really kind of see it, and then it just never kind of makes it, or some of the other ones, too. And it's that one that, I know that Kevin Smith in like the last, 10, 15 years or so, kind of, the podcast started fading away, which is a bummer because Edumacation and Smodcast were my two favorite of all time. Like, not having those in life as far as new episodes is still kind of like a travesty, where it's just like, man, it sucks just not being able to have that each week and so on. And then I know even with like his movies and so on like that, the quality's kind of like dipped in a weird way, like, and
I like the 430 movie.
Yeah, I just said I still enjoy watching them and so on like that. No, I think 430 movie was definitely a good comeback one comparatively to some of the other things. But
I do think not to cut you off there. I do think, even though I liked that movie, I do think, and I get it. Chances are, if you're watching that movie, you're a Kevin Smith fan. You could probably parse together or figure out who's supposed to be who. But for someone who's never seen it, and there's like the Marvel-esque post-credit scene of like, man, I don't know about this. Hey, man, you gotta get a job some point. Oh, yeah. He's like sitting in front of like the quick stop. Like, who knows? Maybe we'll lead to something. Just like, I mean, as soon as they're talking about like, I don't know about this now. Like, are they be sitting for a quick stop? They're sitting for a quick stop. Okay. It's one of those things where it's like, it didn't kill the movie for me, and I still really like that movie. I thought it almost made my top 10 that year. But it was just one of those things of like, because his name's not Dante, so it's just kind of like to everyone else, just like, what's that supposed to fucking mean? Or just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that too. Just being a confusing one, if you never saw anything else, but that was the first movie you saw, Kevin Smith. And here it is. Yeah, no, as I said, I started listening to even some of these, speaking going back to those olden time ones, I listened to like the Mallrats commentary, and that's like the early days one, because they talk about that like Laserdisc. It's like, they're like, oh, you'll be able to listen to this on the Laserdisc when it comes out, so you're like, oh God, it's like, so it's literally probably, they do mention DVD, so it must be the 99 release version, And so Ben, I mean, like Ben Affleck's in there. It's almost you don't recognize him as much because his voice is just so like boyish. Everything and he's like the one who like he only pops up because it's one of those early days commentaries where like Kevin Smith obviously brought like 6 guys into the room, so probably way more than
for each other.
Yeah, and then they start eating snacks halfway into it. So you get that, I love this fucking scene.
So
it's so raw, but it's so almost like, at the same time pretty cool, just as a historical fact of that's something that should be preserved on the Internet Archive.
Sure. I think there's more important things. I still like it. It's still kind of fun, but it's also one of those things of like, how do I put it? Like, I don't want every time I come on to be me just being like, we're gonna fucking die one day. You know that, right?
I saw it.
We're all just gonna be fucking dirt. One day we'll just be fucking dirt. And one day the sun's gonna explode and nothing's gonna be remembered anywhere. It doesn't fucking matter. I'm not jumping because every single time I come on, I'm just like, man, 10 years went by so fast. Oh my god! Every fucking time I come on, it becomes that, and I don't want to be that. That said, I'm kind of just when I have a moment, because for a minute it got by me, and I haven't really been reading a lot of comics for like almost a few years. Just like I'm like, oh, here's my 1 or 2 graphic novels a year. I managed to make time for it, but I've kind of put more time out of my way and working down my stack. This is my current stack right here. That's all you can see. I'm not reading them all at once. I'm going one at a time. Sometimes if I'm really curious, I'm skipping one ahead. But this is the current stack. This right here is one I'm working on. This Captain America 1980s comic right here. It's kind of a bit of a beast.
Dude, that is a beast.
Yeah, and it presents John Walker. Now, surprise! That's actually not John Walker. That's actually Steve. John Walker becomes Cap, and then so originally Captain was the first. He was just called the Captain, but he wasn't U.S. agent yet. But he was the costumes. At some point, they swapped costumes. I haven't got to that point yet. It's actually pretty good. There is some of the clunky. Sometimes you just go like however many years back, the dialogue can be a little clunky, and it is here, but it's actually still pretty good. This is like 88, 87, around there. And but anyway, long way of saying, I bought this book like my first month of living in San Francisco back in like 2014. And I'm just now like, you know what? I'm finally going to like fucking stare this thing down. Here we are. So,
yeah, that happens.
Yeah. So, but it's pretty good so far. It's actually, do you know the character Demolition Man in Marvel? Do you know that character?
I don't think so. I mean, when you say Demolition Man, of course, I'm thinking of Sylvester Stallone, but I know that's not at all what it is.
They have this character. I'm not going to like go the whole time. It's actually, first off, it's pretty good. It kind of like moves around a lot. It opens up with like Steve Rogers having like the government saying, well, technically you work for us. You don't work for the Avengers. You work for us. You got to make the call. And he does the thing like, I fight for the people, not for the government. So have your suit, have your shield. I'm out. And then there's some guy, John Walker, who's like some other wannabe superhero who comes in, but then it's implied he has skeletons in his closet. And we see his training process to become the new Captain America. And we just got a little bit of him, and now we're just jumping back to Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers. Anyway, there's this character that, Falcon, Nomad, and a character named Demolition Man are all like, hey, we know Steve's going through some shit right now. We should all meet together to see how he's doing. This is what Nomad looks like. And I was like, is this like fat Wolverine and Daredevil had like a baby? Like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what the hell? So yeah. He's looking at the D, but he's got the Wolverine ears. But these old school Daredevils, so he's like yellow.
Yeah, and he's apparently like an ex-pro wrestler who decided to become a superhero and worked with Captain America a few times. I'm like, that in itself is actually a pretty cool concept.
Yeah, I like it.
Like the idea of like this guy just like, I got tired of sitting on people's faces and like having to like fake lose. So I'm not sure how good he actually was, if he lost or if he was the heel or not. But this concept of this guy tired of pretending to fight. So he really wanted to fight because he had the physique for it. And he's teaming up with Captain America of all fucking people. I'm like, that's actually a cool concept for like a side character right there.
Yeah, no, I like that. But that's always one of the fun things too when you go back and just you archive through some older issues and the things that you find in there that you just kind of didn't expect and didn't really become like continuous like stories throughout time and so on, or certain characters lose their costumes. I mean, even just that same time period, I had one book sitting there for a while that was Iron Man and Doctor Doom, and for some reason, every single time they team up, somehow they get transported back in time. They don't team up. They just end up feuding, and then next thing you know, a time warp happens, and it's like, oh shit, whoa! And the first time they get sucked back to like King Arthur's fucking realm and whatnot, and of course, you know, the weird thing is Tony Stark goes there and he starts talking like my liege and everything. I'm like, I don't feel like Tony Stark would be saying that kind of shit. I mean, Doctor Doom goes up and goes, fuck you. Doctor Doom doesn't, you know, bow to anybody. I'm out of here. And, you know, of course, Tony Stark's like, whoa, Doom, we got to get out of here. He's like, yeah, fuck you. I'm leaving. Where's that sister that you banged, King Arthur? I'm going to go team up with her and I'm going to conquer your ass. Why? Because I'm fucking Doctor Doom.
I totally drew a blank. I had to think back on it for a second. You know that. You know, you had the incest baby who you'd have killed later. Where is it? Like, wait, what? It's like blowing his fucking mind. Fuck your sister. You fuck your sister. You have a kid. The kid becomes an evil wizard. She's hot and all that, but then she gets really fucking old and she's wearing like a Princess Leia slave bikini thing, which is kind of weird and insane. The son chokes her out, and then later, like the next morning, you and the son fight and you kill him, but you die too.
Yeah, fucking Dr. Doom's like, yo, I saw fucking Merlin of Sam Neill. That was the thing. I bought that Merlin set like a year ago or whatnot because I hadn't watched it since back in like the 90s. I literally had it like taped off VHS back in the day. And I was like, man, I want to sit down and watch this. I'm kind of like in a Sam Neill mood. I'm going to get the fucking Merlin disc set and watch that. Like, you know.
Feel the need for Neil.
the need. And I remember going through that about like halfway into it. It was just like, it fucking, you know, King Arthur's like literally getting seduced, you know, by magic, and is up by his sister. Sister's like banging him. You're like, what the fuck? Is
this? Because I remember this in Excalibur. Is this also in the Merlin TV show?
Well, I think this is a real King Arthur thing. They don't put it in Sword in the Stone with the Disney version. You know, no, it's not like one of those.
The part where he gets turned into a squirrel or whatever, and like the squirrel starts
sister just like fucks him and whatnot. You're like, oh shit. That was my sister, Merlin? He's like, I thought it was fucking weird, too. I just wasn't going to say anything. I didn't know what you were into.
I just wasn't sure if they would, like, if maybe the Excalibur one, like, no, we're fucking doing it. Where other ones, it was like, maybe we will, maybe we won't. And I didn't think the TV version would go there.
Yeah, well, the sister's played by, what's her fucking face? Tim Burton's, like, wife for a moment.
I forgot.
Yeah, that chick.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Yep. So she plays it in that one there, and yeah, as well like that was the part. Like, oh, that's fucking weird. So whatever. Doctor Doom teams up with like fucking the sister and the bastard child and whatnot to go fucking conquer King Arthur. Well, of course, Iron Man is on King Arthur's side and whatnot, and that's their like time travel fucking issue. Then there was a second issue that they came back like 10 years later and they traveled to the future. And for some reason, King Arthur's reincarnated as like a boy, like a 10-year-old boy in like 2300. And Merlin's there. He's like, yeah, it's just fucking what happened. Just went through like a dimensional warp. Look at here's Arthur. He's a boy. And then Dr. Doom's like, fuck that little kid. I ain't listening to him. I'm Dr. fucking Doom. Suck my dick, bitch. Fucking doing a DX thing to him. And, once again, they got to team up somehow, some way to go back in time. And the biggest thing was that Iron Man's like, I just don't want Dr. Doom to know what my identity is. Like, that's going to be fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like, he might think he's one of the smartest guys ever, but you know what? That's the one thing he doesn't know. And of course, what does Dr. Doom do? He like fucking goes on the internet and looks up like what Tony Stark's fucking identity was. And goes, yeah, they left the records out there. Guess what I fucking learned?
I like how he talks like, hey, guess what, guys? Like, not this Romani Eastern European, like, you will bow to Doom, just like, hey guys, guess what? I'm gonna fuck your day up. How do you like that?
Yeah, I'm fucking pissed here. Look at my face.
Just muffled. That's why it fucking sounds like that. Fuck you.
But yeah,
my pubes. That's what it does. That shit just tugs my pubes. It makes me pissed off. Like, is it literally like tugging your pubes. That's my phrase. This is tugging my pubes.
So, it's when you put the armor on and it gets kind of caught. There's like those little slits down there and everything. You look at me, the Iron Man. You know what's fucking going on. You have that same problem, right? He's like, well, I worked that technology out so it doesn't do that, and I shave. You should have saw what Gen 1 the Iron Man suit. You know that big bulky one was? Yeah, I had that same issue. They told me I could have worn underwear, but I'm like, Tony, don't wear no underwear.
Always commando.
I'm always prepared.
I wanted to read some because I was just looking to order, and I was looking to because I was looking to read some old Iron Man because I don't have any Iron Man. I was like, I am kind of curious about Demon in the Bottle and Armor Wars and whatnot.
That one is really good. The Demon in the Bottle. I had that graphic novel I went through like a year ago or something like that, and I thought that was one of the best written ones of like that period.
I need to read that because I don't have any Iron Man. I just have Iron Man where he appears in like Avengers or the Ultimates or whatever. One I did read a little bit ago, and this book was fucking fantastic. I promise it's not going to be show and tell all day, but I got Wonder Woman Dead Earth a little bit ago.
I've been looking at that one for a while, and I haven't checked it out, but I see it all the time pop up.
This one is fucking phenomenal, dude. Basically, I mean, it's kind of like it's doing the thing that a lot of comics do every so often, where it's just like, world is destroyed, who's left over? It's Wonder Woman. But as someone who doesn't know that much Wonder Woman, like all I really know is what I know of her from the whenever she pops up in Justice League or something, as well as Absolute Wonder Woman.
Like the standard, like kind of origin story, Themyscira, Greece, all that kind of stuff.
Just the standard stuff. So I actually went and got like some George Perez Wonder Woman. I'm planning to read in 1 or 2 graphic novels back there.
That's a good one too. I started that one up not too long ago.
Yeah, and so I just jumped on this one. This one is really fucking good. It's really good. It's dark. It's bleak, and I'm not sure how long-time Wonder Woman fans would feel or appreciate it or would feel about certain things. But it's pretty. I mean, there's a part where I won't say who, but there's a part where she takes a certain character because they need something to fight. She takes like the spine and the skull of a certain character, weaves her like lasso through it, and uses it as like just basically like a fucking wrecking ball.
That's pretty badass.
It's pretty fucking metal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
swinging it around.
Yeah, and it does the whole thing where Wonder Woman's thing is compassion and kindness. Like if you're gonna fight, you gotta kill. You gotta do that, but always make room for peace if you can. Always make room for kindness. It's doing that in a world that's forgotten that, and it was probably one of my favorite comics I've read in the last couple of years. Actually, in all honesty, I don't know if I like it as much as the episode of Batman, but yeah, it was pretty fucking awesome. I would recommend that. And I don't want to say too much about it because it's a pretty cut. You wouldn't take long to sum up the story, but it's a really good story,
Yeah, no. As I said, I've looked at that cover. I see it pop up all the time on like Comixology and whatnot. I'm like, that looks like a pretty good one. I think I have it on my list at least. I just haven't got around to it, But I have been checking out more Wonder Woman. I mean, after I kind of read Absolute Wonder Woman, I was like, I need to sit down and kind of go back. So I had that George Perez one once again sitting there forever. So I started that one up. I got a couple of issues into it, and it starts off with a really good like origin of Wonder Woman. I mean, like I knew like the core basics, from say like the animated movie and just things in Justice League and all that kind of stuff. But this one gives like a really long, well detailed. Like it kind of reminds me like in the '80s, they're like make the really good definitive Wonder Woman origin where it really catches everybody up, plus, adds on all the stuff you have. So like that first issue, it's like one of those real thick ones too. I want to say it's like a 40-pager or something like that. And It really explains well, and then getting through all that and all the hardships that the Amazons have to go through and all that kind of stuff that sometimes they kind of bypass and kind of just go, oh yeah, they were there and they had to defend once. It's like, no, shit went down one point and like it was not good for anyone when they're all enslaved and brutalized and all that kind of stuff, and then they finally broke free from their captives and said, never again, And they went off and they're like, okay, Wonder Woman, you stay here. Don't you dare talk to any men that come on by. I don't care if they come on by in their little, jets or something like that, we hear about in the snail mail news we got going here.
We know you think you got a thing for guys that drive jets. You know, like Artemis has a thing for guys with motorcycles. We have a thing for guys with jets, but just say no, and the one just lands down. Fuck.
Oh, he was injured. You know, he was going to drown. Like, you let him drown. You know.
Of course, he was fucking injured. Yeah. Of course he was. No, like Absolute. Last time, like Absolute. I'm not sure if we talked about it last time. Was Absolute Wonder Woman was so good. That was such a good fucking book.
We never really did, because I remember I read that in between we did the Absolute Batman one, and I remember reading that one. I'm like, dude, I'm wrong. I loved Absolute Batman, but Absolute Wonder Woman might be even better.
I don't know. I think my love for Batman kind of comes in, but I liked it. I also read Absolute Superman, which I really liked also, but I didn't like it as much as Batman or Wonder Woman.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
It was still really good. It was still very interesting. Just the idea of kind of going back to the working class hero roots that Superman started from, as well as incorporating some of the things they have, you know, like things that like were always part of his character, but reimagined a certain way. Like you wouldn't think of it that way. Like, oh, his mother wrapped him in a blanket when they put him into the pod. Well, his suit is kind of like an AI nanomachine thing, and the cape kind of protects him and can also take the shape of the ship and all that. Like, okay, that's kind of an interesting way to come around. And the mom at some point, when they're having their rebellion on Krypton, is wearing the suit, and she's like a badass armored version of it. So just like that kind of just really interesting things like that.
Yeah, no. There was some neat stuff in there. Don't get me wrong. I did enjoy the Superman one. Just comparatively to the other two, I thought it was kind of I was like, I enjoyed it, but not as much as Batman, and especially Wonder Woman too. You know, I know Batman mostly is always, it's just Batman. I don't know what to say. Like the worst Batman story, sometimes you're kind of like, I almost kind of liked it a little bit more than the other one. Why? Well, I don't know, Batman was in it, you know.
Well, my Wonder Woman knowledge is a little weaker, but from what I know of Wonder Woman and Batman, it still feels a lot more like Wonder Woman and Batman, but enough things are different. And they're like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Where Superman, it takes a little longer. You got to kind of squint at it a little bit more to recognize it as Superman. But it still is, like, I think a very interesting interpretation, and it's still pretty cool. I like it, but at the same time, I just appreciate the flow of Batman and Wonder Woman more. And I guess we could I actually pre-ordered Absolute Wonder Woman 2. So maybe if that comes in and we both get that, maybe we can just do a quick dive on Wonder Woman 1 and then 2 and what we think about the rest of the Absolute universe, what we've read so far. I have Absolute Flash in the stack, but haven't had a chance to get to them yet.
I know, I've been looking at the other Absolute ones too. Yeah, I wouldn't mind rereading the Absolute Wonder Woman 1 first and then 2. That kind of is the same way I felt about Batman. I almost kind of wish I went back and read Absolute Batman 1 again and then went into the second one. Just because it's one of those ones, because these ones are so like, it's your standard core character, what they are, but like throw them in a blender and get them really shuffled up, you know, and so on like that. So there is sometimes, as I was going through even Absolute Batman 2, I had to kind of stop and go, wait a second. Oh yeah, it was like that in the first one. That's right. That's who the character was, or that's how this was, and so on. It's not like when you just pick up a Batman book and you have that core knowledge of Batman in the back of your mind that you can just go straight ahead. This one, you do got to kind of stop and think, like, wait a second, this character's kind of alternative here, or this one's Batman's friend, not Batman's enemy. Let's see how this kind of goes and whatnot.
I will say, well, I mean, because I've spoiled myself a little bit because I've been keeping up. Not every issue, but just if it pops in my feed, I'm like a little curious. Like, okay, I'll buy it. What is it? Like I knew some of the stuff that was going to happen in this book here because I saw a couple of YouTube videos leading up to certain things. I didn't know the whole story, but I knew certain things that were going to happen. So I just kind of random issues here and there. Oh, that's going to happen. That's pretty fucked up. And I know the case of like after this, there's like an annual where Batman fights a bunch of white nationalists, and there's one where we get more of a deep dive on who the Joker is and whatnot. But then there's they haven't said anything about it, but you want to know what the next like arc is? Who like the next? It's not Joker just yet. They've revealed more of the next arc. Do you know who what the combination of the villains are?
So is this the arc as in Batman Volume 3, or would this be Batman Volume 4 in a sense?
I guess this would be Batman Volume 3, I guess. Because I think the way it works is you get like your one or two kind of little like filler issues, like your Mr. Freeze. In this case, this one would be like the annual where he fights like white nationalists, and then the introduction of more information on the Joker, and then we're on to the next arc. I think that's how it's
Okay, because sometimes a lot of times by the time the volume kind of comes out, in a weird way, the next volume in single issue form is already done. So it's almost like the graphic novels are always, at least like 8 issues behind or something in this like weird kind of way. So that's the only reason I was wondering, because I assumed that the third one was going to be Joker just by the buildup, but I haven't really looked much into it.
Yeah, or at least maybe there's more. Maybe there's more to it that I'm missing right now. But they advertised who is going to be the next, or maybe it is going to be volume 4. But they advertised who the next one's going to be, and it's going to be Court of Owls with Poison Ivy.
Ooh, that's the
mixing
combo
matchup, and they even show the Court of Owls. They don't look all regal. Like, it's hard to say exactly what they look like. They look like they're wearing like trench coats, like flannels with bulletproof vests, and then like more like feathery owl like heads. So I'm not sure what they got going on there. In Poison Ivy, they showed a couple of versions of her. They kind of show like hot Poison Ivy with some kind of, but she still looks like kind of like a little kind of body horror-ish, and full on like body horror Poison Ivy, and part of her face is like a Venus flytrap and shit.
Yeah, just all plant demon like.
Yeah,
that's badass. Well, because that's kind of almost like the theme of all these absolute Batman ones, is that all the villains are just like almost like like horror monsters in a sense. They're not necessarily, everything's kind of almost like weirdly over the top and extreme and so on like that, and it's not like these are really even like regular people anymore. They're just so far extreme that it's what makes it kind of cool and different. It wouldn't really work.
Halfway horror.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is, and it's just, I mean, even like for examples, you start off of Absolute Batman Volume 2, and it comes into this like Mr. Freeze kind of world, and the way they do Mr. Freeze in it and so on like that is that first he's just like this really skinny, lanky guy walking around and whatnot, and somehow, some way, all of Gotham's just snowier than normal. They're like, that's getting kind of weird. Why is it snowing so much out here? And Mr. Freeze, instead of having Nora locked up inside there, like, I'm going to bring my wife back one of these days. I know it's been 42 years, but I'm pretty sure she'll remember me, even though, look at me now, I'm 69 years old, and she's still 23. What every woman dreams of is being kept frozen until...
Surprise, bitch!
Yes, I lost all my hair and all my pubes and everything like that. It wasn't a suit issue, though, believe me. It wasn't like Dr. Doom's problem. Just the freezing there.
Naturally smooth man.
But it was, once again, he's looking like a naturally smooth man here. But instead, this one, he's kept his like parents alive and whatnot because his parents found like some kind of a, almost like a disease or something way back in the day.
This is actually Victor Freeze Jr.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, see.
Yeah, this is Victor Freeze and Nora Freeze's mother. This is Victor Freeze Jr.
Okay, I missed that part then. Well, that makes more sense then. I was thinking he just keep his parents there. So it's Junior, it's boy, So Victor Freeze finds that bacteria way back in the day. Kind of reminds me actually like how they explained in Resident Evil how they found the mother virus, like up there, like in the snowy Alps. Yeah. And I think whether they got infected with it, and that's why they kind of been cryogenically frozen there, and.
Yeah, and he's been like he's basically a researcher at Arc M, and that's the thing. So there's what they call arcs, and there's like Arc A through maybe Z. I don't know. They're owned by a company called JK Industries. You probably narrow that down, and they have Arc A through whatever. Arc M is in Gotham. And it's basically just this research facility. And Victor is one of the scientists there. And he is working on, he's basically has his parents on ice, and rich people come who like are afraid they're going to die. So he's like, okay, we're going to freeze you in here. But here's the thing. When you get frozen in here, it's not like you're frozen and you just wake up one day. You're awake the whole time. You're awake in the ice the whole time, completely aware. So that adds another fucking layer to it. And the thing is, you're not going to come out normal, but you'll be alive. And everyone turns into these like gangly things where if you're able to grab someone, you can just kind of like freeze them and like shock them basically. And he is basically a fucking monster because he is like tall, gangly, long arms, and he kind of like crawls on the side. He just only wears like basically like spandex shorts, and he says, "You might be wondering one of the reasons I'm not wearing any clothes. Thing is, a lot of times when you find dead bodies out in the snow, you find them naked. It's because the mind does something where they think they're hot, they strip down naked, and I'm not gonna lie, this just feels kind of nicer." So it's just really weird, kind of fucked up shit like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. And doesn't it lead to Batman going to investigate Mr. Freeze? Is because they get is that the Matches Malone part?
Matches Malone figured, because they're friends with Matches Malone, and Matches Malone figured something out and was coming to Bruce about he was trying to figure out what Arc M was, and Matches Malone got away in there, but then like violently, like a bunch of blood shot out of his pores and just like died right there on the street. And Matches, and like, you know, he was just part of their friend group, but he was kind of in and out. And Bruce was going in there to figure out what it was, what he died from, what was it that he found out. And then what I found interesting is because they're having this whole parallel scene while Batman is going doing Batman shit in Arc M. They're also doing this thing where it's coming back to his friends down at Crime Alley, but everyone's silhouetted. You can't see their faces, but you could tell who everyone is from their silhouette, or maybe, you know, Riddler. You could see his question mark necklace. Harvey's just got nice hair. Wayland's wearing a tracksuit. Ozzy, you can see the nose, you know. So you can all kind of figure out who's who, but it's all silhouetted. It's not until the end where they kind of like lights a box of matches, not our matches, and there's a mural to matches where you see all their faces and they all kind of like come together. They're like, we're in this Batman shit together, man. You just can't do this on your own. If you do this on your own, you're gonna fucking die. And I appreciate that, like, he's going in like, fuck this, I just gotta Batman through it. And then he kind of has this moment where he realizes he's gonna die and he can't really save the city if he's gonna fucking die. So he actually just says it's not about pride. He just gets the fuck out of there. He doesn't stay to beat all the freezes, because Freeze eventually unleashes a bunch of other people just like him and they attack him. He's like, fuck this, I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly. There's just like, yeah, a whole bunch of them and so on like that. They're trying to freeze Batman and whatnot, and it gets very deadly very fast. And Batman's like, nope. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, and I appreciate, because it doesn't make it out. I'm making it sound more kind of like, fuck this, I'm out of here. But it's this moment of like, you got to come back home to us, man. We got to work on this together. You can't save the city alone. And then from there, he gets out of there, and that's like 2 issues or so, and then we lead into the Bane arc.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I do think it is really neat in this Absolute Batman one, is that the fact that they do give Batman more of a team, you know? I mean, I know throughout time we've had the Bat family and so on like that, and there's sometimes always those weird ones like back in the day where it's just Batman and Alfred, and it's like, let's be honest, how do 2 guys get all this stuff done? You know? I kind of like the idea when Batman has, like, okay, that you could see that he has other people he can, like, rely on for certain things and so on like that, and it makes it feel like, okay, that works out more, you know? And the fact that, you know, he has all his, you know, old school villains are his buddies that he grew up with in the orphanage or whatnot, even though Batman was an orphan, but his mom's still alive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. I kind of forgot about that too. As I saw that, I'm like, oh, wait a second, she's still alive in this one. Like, I totally spaced on that part. You know, I was like,
I think here's something that's actually kind of interesting, because I think it's very easy to. I say this from my own experience. A lot of times when you write things from like the perspective of like a young guy, you're not always taking the parent's perspective into the account. Like, oh yeah, so if you're writing a story, here's the perspective of a young guy, here's the parental figures. They love him, but you know, I'm focusing on the young guy's thing. He's got this young guy adventure shit he's got to do, and then that's kind of what happens here. Batman's like, I'm doing Batman shit. I'm doing Batman shit, and he's not really reaching or calling out to his mom. And they bring that thing up right here. And then, because I'm looking back at things I wrote, I'm like, I'm a new parent, but I'm still a parent. I'm looking like, yeah, this isn't actually like, you would definitely like, this is not how a parent would act. This is not how a parent would think. A parent would be more involved and more curious. So with the part when they have like Martha coming in frequently and trying to figure out where Bruce is and having that whole plot line, I thought that was like, it wasn't the most interesting part, but I think it was a very necessary part, you know?
Well, they do, like, Scott Snyder definitely weaves a lot of like story layers on top of each other, because it does kind of cut back, especially once it gets to that Bane part. It's cutting between like 3 to 5 stories all the time, like, and sometimes it's almost a little bit confusing because like it's going forward, backwards, almost to a point where it's like, okay, I get what you're kind of doing artistic wise here, if you're just having these back and forth things here, but sometimes it's like, well, wait, what part are we at now? Like, oh, here we go, okay, this is before this, oh, this is after this, and so on, because there's even things like Bane's coming to town, and that's our big story here. But then there's also Batman's training Croc for a big boxing match, and he's literally, yeah, and this is the flashback. You see it throughout a lot, and it's a build up too. So it's like a Rocky training montage, where it reminds me even kind of like Punch Out for your NES, and. Out of all the people there, he's just like, yeah, he's like, oh, I didn't want the Riddler training me. I know he looked like he really wanted to, but let's be honest, Bruce. Like, look at him.
it's Riddler.
Yeah, he's like if you looked up nerd in the fucking dictionary, it's gonna be a picture of him there.
Yeah. Well, I thought that whole part was interesting because, like, well, first off, I do think it's interesting that of all his best friends, characters that could be Batman's like best friend in an alternate reality, I would never land on Croc. Croc would not even like scratch my mind. But it is the case here, and they make it believable, and I can kind of see how it all gets there. And even like the circle of his friends, Croc is not the one that comes to mind. I see Penguin, I see Catwoman, I see Riddler, I see Two-Face. Okay, oh, and also Croc. Oh, also Croc? Okay, well, he's probably, I guess you need to just even it out. He's the best friend, but he's the best friend. Okay, but then like you read it, like it actually kind of works that way.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, because it's like, in a weird way, if you think about all the other guys, a lot of times, like, I feel Croc feels closest to being more kind of like Bruce and being like more physically active than everybody else.
This Batman, yeah, this Bruce.
Yeah, this Batman here, but even just Batman in general, sometimes I feel like one of those ones, like, that is like half of what he is probably really into. It's like, like where if his best friend was like the Riddler, it'd seem that's kind of weird. Like, okay, well, they're having a good time, like fucking playing the new fucking PlayStation, but then after a while, like, he's like, I got to go out and like get prepared to go like run around the city all night long, Yeah. Can't just sit here if you drink a fucking Mountain Dew all day.
Killing my sperm count, yeah.
Batman, riddle me this. What do you need sperm for anyways, as the Bat?
You don't need sperm count when you got your boy. It's like, no, Eddie, you do. I'm sorry.
How do you explain that Damien kid? Like, if I was raped.
Oh, me too. Like, okay.
I love how Batman's like that. He's like the one guy who can be like, yeah, I was raped multiple times by women.
Yeah.
It just happens.
He just kind of like shoved it off. Well, whatever.
This is billionaire issues.
Yeah, head of a terrorist organization, but she's really hot. What can I say? I mean,
I said no multiple times.
I didn't really do a lot to fight back. Let's just be honest. Like, no, we shouldn't. Okay,
she has those strong hands, Yeah.
I'm just a feeble like bodybuilder. Yeah.
Her dad was cool with it, if that's what you're wondering. He wanted to watch. It was kind of weird. I don't know what that was about, Kept saying something about the heir of the future.
He's been alive for 800 years, so I mean, this is probably like not weird to him, but he needs to like help lead people into this,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, he's the one that talked in fucking Arthur's sister into banging him, So he says it's good for the future. Keep it in the bloodline.
Yeah.
So Batman's hanging out with Croc, training him up, fucking going super punch out there and whatnot. They're doing battle ropes, they're doing bench presses, he's riding the bike behind him as he's running up the stairs Rocky style and stuff. And he's getting prepared for this big fight that's coming up that's got what's his face?
Bibbo.
Bibbo, and then Falcone's the one like on Bilbo's side, or no, fucking Bebo. Bibbo, yes, yeah.
Superman's pal.
That's right, yeah. Superman's pal, right there at the bar and everything like that. When Superman needs to go have a cold, stiff drink, who's there to like help him out?
Yeah. His other pal, other than Jimmy Olsen. I wonder if him and Jimmy Olsen just you're the other pal, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Super, he's been cheating on me. You know what I mean? Oh, you got a fucking watch? What the fuck? I didn't get anything. You got me a mug that's got my name on it.
Said world's best pal. It was really dabbed. It was scratched out and pal was written on it.
He did write it with laser vision though, so it was pretty cool and unique. But I still at the same time thought like, what? You can't afford to get this custom made?
On a journalist salary. No. No, I was gonna say because it cuts back to that, and then at some point, like Bruce is like, I think we need to like fall out. I think we need to like bail out, and then like Waylon is like, no, I'm not gonna like. I'm not like he's like, Bruce, I don't really bring you here because I want you because you're like the best trainer. I want you here because you're my best friend. Said if you don't believe in me, then I don't need you in my corner. Get out. And then of course there's this plays in different order. They do the kind of Quentin Tarantino thing where it flashes back to this. It's paralleling the final fight of the book. But then like at some point Bruce goes in the last minutes and he's like Waylon, I'm here. Don't throw the fight. And then he just like flips him and the fight keeps going, which first I was boxing, like, oh, it's UFC. That's how he's in this. Yeah. Like, you can't do headlocks in boxing. Like, oh, it's not boxing. Okay.
I literally thought it was boxing the whole time until the match started up. And then I'm like, oh, wait a second. This is not boxing anymore. I don't know why. I just felt like I had this old school feeling about that.
Well, it makes sense because if you think about it, like in like the first issue, when Black Mask is sparring with Bibbo, they're like wrestling. So I guess it would make sense.
That's right.
So, in that context.
I mean, it makes sense nowadays. I feel, UFC and all that stuff kind of like they sort of pull boxing out every once in a while and be like, remember this? That's what it always sort of feels like nowadays. Like it's not the main one. We know this, but it's the classic. It's the classic category, The
gentleman's sport.
Yeah, the gentleman's sport where they, just wear little short shorts and punch each other, as many times as they can until one falls down and then teabags the other one.
The way America used to be. But no, they have that. And I think the thing is, Waylon is the first to get taken. After the whole freeze thing, Waylon's taken. So Batman goes on the search for Waylon. But then when going into it, he gets broken. I think it's interesting when they kind of like, when they reimagine it, because like originally Bane is a character that comes in way later. But the idea like, no, Bane's in his first year. So yeah, how's he going to do against them? And like when he goes into Arc M, like another section of Arc M, goes back to get Waylon out. He's fighting Bane, but Bane's being kind of nice, but he's also kind of being kind of like talking down to him, like, "Oh, you do? I see Muay Thai. Oh, jiu-jitsu. Okay, all right, try again. It's like snaps a nerve, his like arms limps. Like, it's okay, you got another arm. I'll give you the first shot. He's just like trying to help guide Bruce into like beating him. Like, that's a good try. Now try your legs. Fuck you. I like that energy. Now come out. Try your legs, and if you get rid of that, you got your mouth. And then like basically just beats the shit out of Batman. And he's like a subject at Arkham. And he's put through all these tests, but then they go to the level of like, this is like, I heard people complaining about this, but this is one of the reasons I really like this book. They have the thing where, sometimes in comics you'd have like a little like callus, and you'll have like a little like pick or like a little vial of acid or something just stole away, but he has it all over his body. He's a big boy, so he's got a lot of spots to hide it. And then not only that, like within his gums, he like keeps like a needle, like a piercing in there, pulls it out, like picks a lock, and he keeps breaking out, and Bane keeps on stopping him, beats the fuck out of him, sends him back. At some point he pulls out his molars or his teeth, wraps them around, and he's like brass knuckles with his own teeth, like fighting guards off.
Yeah, it's like super like Batman prepared for anything kind of thing, but I thought it was kind of badass too. Like just in this kind of context in this world, the fact that he has all these things and the fact that, Bane here, can't keep him down and so on like that, he keeps breaking out. And I do like the Bane in this one of just like how much of like a world kind of like terrorist this guy sort of is, and he's all over the place. You know, they even have that montage where it's just showing him like, oh yeah, he was involved in this bombing, and he was involved in this like attack, and he was involved in this. And then there's another part a little bit later on where they're explaining that Bane's setting up other guys around the world for his kind of thing, and or it might not be necessarily Bane himself. It's more the laboratory setting this up. But there's like, in a sense, they've created.
He's a trainer.
Yeah. Bane characters that are like KG Beast, I think was kind of a cool one. They said Deathstroke, I think, was another one of the characters. And there's a third one in there too.
They said someone in the Middle East, but didn't say who. And I would think Ra's al Ghul, but Ra's al Ghul is the villain in Superman. So
yeah, I'm guessing I was just trying to picture somebody who was in that kind of like big guy, like kind of like that would feel like a Bane kind of character and so on like that, but I couldn't think exactly who. I thought that was kind of a neat concept that these guys, like I wasn't like wanted to see what KG Beast and like Deathstroke look like if they're kind of like hooked up to Venom and all kinds of stuff there, you know.
I want to see that too. And then the idea of like, because every time also Batman gets out, he stumbles across like remnant like horror shit. So at some point, one of the first times, I don't remember which one it is, maybe it's the first or second, but he's getting out, he's walking in through like what's called the Clay biome, and it's just spelled K-L. It's a acronym. Clay spelled with a K. And he's walking through, and then he starts hearing like low wheezing and crying, and he looks down, he's like stepping on faces, and they're all just like mushed together. He's like, it hurts. And all these arms come up and grab him and hold him down, and like that's where Bane beats the shit out of him and takes him back. At some point, so it's Clayface is basically a whole biome, or maybe we get another Clayface. At some point, he's going through a biome called like the Isley Forest, and then like, so we're still going to get real poison ivy, but he's walking through a bunch of like a weird like forest of trees, but all the trees like suddenly eyes open and they have like disfigured faces attached to them, and like this one like shrubbish like humanoid creature thing says, the green wants out, the green wants out. And like Batman's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, it's like that forest out of Mortal Kombat 2 or whatnot, you know, like the Death Forest and whatnot. I thought that was really neat. And I do like, because like in the story, it's almost like they work in the elements of that Venom Batman comic from the 80s, like the proto-Bane one where, you know, Batman tries out Venom for the first time. And it kind of has that 80s like, oh, Batman tried drugs once, and then he said, never again, you know.
Nancy just like behind him giving a thumbs up.
Yeah, you know, just kind of like the olden days ones where it's like, you know, the day when Batman tried psychedelics, you know, and put on that purple costume and everything. You know, there's always like those ones for certain time period, because that's like the one thing, if you read like all those like late 80s comics, boy did they try to push home the don't do drugs, kids. Like there's like messages in there all the time in so many of those ones, even when you don't expect it, all of a sudden it comes around the corner and it's like, oh, here it is.
Well, it's kind of funny, in that Captain America comic, there's actually one of the groups that not Steve Rogers, but like John Walker, as his first job as Captain America, is going after. He's going after like a far right group called, I think, the Watchdogs or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. And first thing they're doing is like burning down like an adult video store and like sex toy store. And you see it just says from the outside like adult video store, sex store. Like, we don't need this smut. This is not the way of America. And then like the most Pa Kent looking guy with a shotgun, like Farmer Joe, comes out like, that store's my life-saving, Joe, get back from my titty mark, you know. And all of a sudden like they just unload on this guy. Like, of all the people, you thought it was going to be like some sleazy looking guy, like with like his couple like shirts and like couple buttons like undone, like maybe like some shady sunglasses, like, hey man, what the fuck, you know, like some like, you know, but then just like some like Farmer Joe, like, hey, that's my titty mark, y'all back the fuck up, and he just gets lit the fuck up.
I like the idea that like Superman comes home one time and he's just like, there's an adult bookstore opened up, what's going on? And then Pa Kent's like, Clark, I'm gonna be honest with you, the farm just doesn't pay the bills anymore. We stopped up, yeah, Ma and Pa's adult bookstore.
Pussy and tits and, you know, cock.
And here's the thing: people appreciate a mom and pop business, and then you add tits and cock to it, and it's even better. So I don't, you know, it's just the wave of the future. You know what? We got to get past this. You know, me and your mom, we started a nudist camp too. It's not weird. We're very comfortable with ourselves.
You got X-ray vision. We know what you can do. You know.
Yeah, it has nothing new to you.
Yeah. Also, like, we'll be 100% honest here, right? You know, it's like, I feel weird saying this, but it's what sells. Porn parodies of you sell like fucking crazy. So, am I a little morally conflicted? Yes. Do I like paying my mortgage? Yes. So, you know.
Do I like to have some money for the future? Definitely. That's what we're doing here. You know, we're just providing a service, you know. People need this, you know, and who are we to judge? Let's be honest.
You see, you save the world from like Lex Luthor and Brainiac and Solar Banshee. We help people nut. You know, it's like the same thing.
You know, yeah, exactly. That Pete kid started working there. I mean, it wasn't my idea. Believe me, it wasn't my idea. But you know what? He's got a purpose now. I didn't think he ever did. I thought he was going nowhere fast.
He's really sticky. I thought it was because he worked at IHOP and he likes to chug that syrup. But I'm hoping that's the reason why. You know, he's the mop boy. Yes, we all have to start somewhere. But I mean, that's probably as far as he's going at this establishment. I'm just saying.
That's it, you know. But his mind, he's got like a steel trap for, you know, catalog titles. You know, he's a real expert on this stuff. You know.
Anyway, how's Bruce doing?
Exactly. So that's kind of there, but the hell was that leading from? I can't even remember now.
There's like some like people who don't like porn in Captain America, so they like lit up a bookstore on fire.
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
Like,
drugs,
80s and 60s, like don't do this, kids, don't do that, kids. But I was like, this book was actually like, hey, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of like. Nothing wrong with a little 70s or 80s bush here and there. Just, you know, maybe in moderation.
Dr. Doom's like, no. Be careful. If you put the armored suit on, it's it's not good. Believe me. I've gone through a lot. I've been punched literally out of the sky by Galactus. Hurt way less than putting that suit on and getting those pubes cut. But I know what I was thinking. I was going back to, because the Bane
Venom.
Yeah, the Venom book, which that book is actually really good. I like that one quite a bit because it's the whole story of, you know, Batman goes to save this little girl and she's like fucking drowning and somewhere in the sewer, and there's this giant boulder in the way, and Batman's trying to push it, and he's trying everything he can. There's nothing he can do, you know, and eventually the water fills up and the little girl drowns, and that's like the breaking point where Batman's like, dude, there's nothing I can fucking do, you know. And then of course he finds like, hey, if you know, why don't you shoot up some of the, he goes to a gym and is like, hey, you know, try some of these steroids here, they're pretty cool, you know. Duke Nukem's using them, you know. Oh, Duke Nukem's using them, I guess I'll give them a try.
Well, the thing is, the guy,
and then Batman's lifting weights, he's like, yeah, fucking ripped, Alfred, look at me, he's like, yes, master, but your balls have shrank. He's like, oh, you know, I don't want any more of those weird unplanned rape pregnancies I keep getting. Yeah, that's what they want me for. Believe me, like, I'm the victim here. You know what I mean? Fucking Talia wants half of what I have. I got a lot. I got more than her fucking grandpappy has. That's her father, sir. Whatever. He's old as fuck.
There's a lot to go around. Just saying. There's well, the thing is, there's also the guy he gets the drugs from. He's just like, he goes home like, this is the worst part of the job. Like, doctor, whatever. I'm sorry. I couldn't save your daughter, Sissy. Ah, shit happens. Hey, want to try this out? Like, you know.
That's right.
Like,
I forgot that was tied. That was tied into that. Yeah.
He does not care that his daughter was just killed. He's just like, yeah, they killed my daughter to get to me, but I'm a working man. What do you want me to say? Yeah, I can make another daughter, you know. But like, I just remember Batman's like, well, that's fucking weird. Okay, well, I'll try these pills out, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll try anything once. Yeah. What's it called? Venom? Okay.
Yeah, that sounds safe. Oh, you know, the kids like the cool packaging.
Yeah. You gotta get it before Marvel strikes the copyright on that one.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so it is kind of another version of that to an extent, because they keep on wanting him to use Venom, and they keep on basically putting him through the ringer. Like every night he tries to escape, or never into that, but like he tries to escape. He's like there for like a few months, I think.
Yeah.
He tries to escape. He gets out. He gets farther. He comes across like horror shit. Like he comes across like a skeleton of man bat, like he was dissected. He comes across a bunch of humanoid creatures. The last thing he comes across, I think, is actually Waylon, and he's Croc now, but he's like a giant fucking like giant Croc, and it's this weird thing where his mouth opens like the length of almost his whole body, with a super long snout, but with like the top part of his head at the very end of the snout.
Yeah, it's really weird, but still like neatly designed. I was actually it took me I had to like sit there and study it for like how does this work, you know?
Mm-hmm. And he's basically kind of like I thought it was interesting because technically crocodiles, if they could eat enough food, they can live forever.
They don't die.
As long as they eat enough, and they just the bigger they get. The thing is, there's usually not enough food around for them to sustain themselves, and so he's constantly in pain because there's never enough food for him, and he's always hungry. He's always hurting. So Bruce at some point like Bane helps Bruce escape, or Croc helps Bruce escape because at some point they like leave like, all right, man, you did this pretty fun. You can have your suit for this trial. We'll see how you do because Bane is basically just trying to like beat the fuck out of Batman into becoming his replacement because they go into Bane's story, and Bane is like he was not the exact same thing. He wasn't born in a prison, but he was born on the battlefield. His father was a revolutionary hero. He fought the good fight with his father, and then at some point
it just makes him sound like a Metal Gear Solid character. I was born on the battlefield, you know.
He is a Metal Gear Solid character
until
he becomes a kaiju. This is all Metal Gear Solid until he goes kaiju. Mm-hmm. And he's basically just this he like his father's like I had a dream, like, you know, our flag is this bird flying over the sun, and I see you with fire behind you leading the revolution and this and that. I believe in you, son, all this kind of shit. And eventually the son takes the role of father, helps lead the escape, gets out of there. They get a second chance at their revolution, and when they get out, Joker, this world's version of Joker, is sitting there waiting for him. And he's like, let me talk to him. He goes over there, talks to him. They don't see what he says. But then he goes back, he goes to hug his dad, kills his fucking dad right there.
Yeah, just gives him this hug crush. After it shows like him hugging his dad like as a boy, and then it like literally like cuts like the future, you know, version right there, killing his father.
Where it's like he agreed to... And then we kind of get a little bit later back in his family life, and now basically, essentially, his island is safe and prosperous and happy, and with the backup of the Joker, as long as he goes and does like leads these missions, and every like once a month or something, or a few days a month, gets to go home and see his family. But then like he's in the island is happy and prosperous, peaceful, but it comes at the cost of him basically being like a terrorist to the world, more or less.
Yeah, and just when he thought he was out, they pull him back in.
well, Batman's supposed to be his last job. Batman's the last. He's training Batman. This is one where I was a little confused for a second because I realized, oh, this is what they want to happen. This is not what happens, but they realize if Batman goes and fights Bane as he is, he's gonna like die because there's this part where I'm like, wait, what the fuck? I thought he just escaped. What the fuck's going on? Because I think Alfred or someone's narrating what will happen. And they have this fight, and Bane takes Batman's battle axe, cuts both arms off, beats the fuck out of him, and then takes the axe and starts slamming like the flat end into his face until it cracks. And you literally see like from underneath the axe, you see some mush and like an eye sagging. Like,
yeah.
Holy fuck. And then they reconstruct him and basically make him Bat-Bane. And he was like all like just baned out, venomed out, just this monstrosity. And then you realize that's what happened if you fight him right now. So
yeah, that part confused because I was like, wait a second, what the hell's going on? Because that's like the end of one of those issues too. So you're like, the hell? That's the cliffhanger you left me off on? You know, and then it comes back and it's like, oh, okay. But Batman still gets infused with that venom though, and so on like that.
Mm-hmm. And he gets the Riddler to take it out, and he also gets the help of Catwoman to because she's like, I think she was originally like this is what, because she was wearing like the same kind of like headpiece, something similar to what Black Mask was wearing. That was a
I think she took it from Black Mask, because I want to say there's a part where, you know, Bruce mentions that. He's like, where the hell did you get that? That's Black Mask, like dirty mask, you know.
That's right.
He's like, you'll put it to good use or something like that. He mentioned something about that going on.
So she's still basically like a career criminal, more or less, but just doing her own thing. And a little bit more tech oriented. But I really like what they do with Selena in this. I think the bulb head is a little weird, but beyond that, I kind of like the rest of the costume. Now they're going about that.
Yeah, I thought so too, because it felt like they wanted, just for some of those splash scenes, just to have this really, like, she's in a cat pose and she's got this big head. It looks like she's fucking ready for, you know, some kind of like, you know, techno concert or something like that.
It looks less bulbous as it goes on. When it first comes on, I was like, what the fuck is with the head?
Yeah, it's like Catwoman in space.
But then it looks doesn't look as bad as it goes on. But then, like, she's going to help Bruce figure this out. And, of course, she and Alfred don't get along and all that. And I do think it's interesting that, you know, there's, like, the Red Hood gang that's led by Harley Quinn. And I think it's kind of interesting. We're going to try and make Harley Quinn, but have her be an attachment to the Joker. And I thought that was an interesting way to go about it.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. She was different. Her look was kind of a little bit like, she just looked like a punk 16-year-old boy. But I was like, oh, okay.
They might change that as it goes on.
Yeah, I was going to say, because she just stand there first, like, looking down and whatnot, like, look at me, I'm Harley Quinn. You know, for some reason, she looked like she was fucking British as fuck. You know, like, and I was like, oh, okay, so, you know. Sure. It felt like that one was trying to be really radical for some weird reason. You know,
her characterization and her place was all right. I think their design was a little different, but I mean, we'll change it in time. She's also meant to only be like a teenager, where everyone else is meant to be like in their 20s or older. So yeah. I was gonna say the one thing that's interesting though too is there's this other part going on, is that Bane's going around and he's mutilating all of Batman's friends in the process, and I thought that was really the part that was really badass. I mean, like, he beats the living daylights out of fucking Penguin, so much so that he like breaks like all his bones in different parts, that he's like laying there like naked. He makes him 2 feet shorter.
Yeah, it literally looks like he's got like elephantitis going on his body. You know, like everything's just broken and deformed and mangled and so on. And now it's like healing up. He's not dead yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what Penguin looks like, you know, as this story goes on. You know,
one half of Harvey was lit on fire. The other half of Harvey was crushed.
Yeah, exactly. Because the thing too is Bane, he like shoves Harvey's face down in the ground, and like he's got the gasoline poured out and he lights it on fire, but he like keeps him down so he can't get up. So it's like, oh, that part was badass too. And then he also like doesn't he crush Riddler's skull or something like that? And
something like that. Well, first he says to him, like, he was actually very gentlemanly. Like, what do you do? Well, he actually said, I bet you like riddles. If you can best me in a riddle, you can kill me. You can even use my gun. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, he beat me in a matter of a minute, you know. So, and then because earlier Riddler had that like Riddler bot that helped them try and like track down like the Black Mask crypto stuff. He incorporated that and infused that into his like eyes and the frontal lobe of his head. So he kind of has like, part of his head is all like robotic, and the back part of his head, his brain, is all like exposed.
So they made him very cyborgy and so on like that. Cyborg Riddler.
Which I think that's fitting for Riddler.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. And it's weird because I looked at them like, oh shit, this is where these guys are going to be turning into villains and so on like that. And so far, it does not seem like that at all. It feels like, for some reason, Riddler is content with this. He's like, oh, this is like better now. Like, I didn't realize this was missing in my life the whole time, but I needed to have my head crushed and shove a computer into it. Like, life's so much better, Bruce. Don't you get it? Like, oh, okay, well. So you're not mad about this, right? Like, no, I'm glad, you know. I mean, go around the world, piss other people off, see what they do to me. Like, I'm probably going to enjoy it.
Silver linings, you know? No, and then, like, Ozzy seems like the one, because he didn't get to talk. Everyone else got to talk.
Yeah.
But Ozzy did not. And when the fight is going on, because, like, the reason he goes to Harley Quinn is he goes to her, like, you guys are a bunch of, like, not only, like, just social disruptors, you're also hackers. Can you guys hack it with all of your combined efforts? Can you hack into the system so the whole city can watch me challenge Bane and fight him? So when the fight between Batman and Bane, Batman versus Bane, is going on for the whole city to see. They cut back to like the hospital room where you see like Harvey, and Harvey's actually kind of getting into the fight. And he's like, look, Ozzy, he's fighting for us. He's fighting for us. And they show Ozzy. He just looks like he's looking at
Just
the
like,
TV.
the pain.
I didn't take it as that. I took it as like, fuck him. Like
Maybe
the way he looked, like he was just like squinting and just like, fuck him, you know. So because like, and even Harvey was like mad at Bruce, but he says like, it's okay. I only hit you half the time.
Yeah, as I said, it's interesting because at first I thought that was going to be like a hard turn, that like, oh, now like all Batman's friends are going to be his enemies all of a sudden. But I think it's actually kind of good if they don't go that route, like with every single one of them, and leave some of them still as his friends. Yeah, I'm expecting somebody.
What I do think would be interesting if Harvey does become a bad guy, because the thing is, he talks about Flass. He says, "Remember when we were kids?" This is kind of like his speech to Batman when he's on the table, or in the table, the bed. He's like, remember when we were kids, there was that one beat cop named Flass. He was always one step ahead of us, and he would always like beat the shit out of us. He'd pull me aside and say, you're actually a smart kid. You actually know what you're doing. These kids are going to drag you down. And when you get dragged down, it's going to be so much worse for you because you should know better. And he's fucking right. I should probably look him up. And, you know, so like that kind of made me think the way he phrased it was almost like, is he be a Batman villain, but a Batman villain more on the side of the law? Like, I think that would be kind of interesting. Like, I know he's sort of been that, like in like Beware the Batman, but not really as like he's just more of a corrupt politician. Like, I think it'd be interesting to see like a Batman villain that's working along the side of the law, but still like smart enough to kind of stay within the bounds of legality, though. You know.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting way to go. I think that'd be the cool thing is if they don't, once again, they probably won't. They'll probably be something different than what you almost expect them to be. But yeah, the fact that he does become almost like, in a sense, yeah, like he becomes like a DA and everything like that. People accept him. They're like, you know what, we're going to accept this half-faced man as our, you know, politician guy and let him, and maybe he is one of the guys like taking down Batman, but like doing it like that way, not necessarily as like Two-Face the villain, you know, and a gangster and everything. Not
this, but another version. What I think would be another interesting version of Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
What if like Two-Face is like, to the public, he's almost kind of like a TV lawyer, like a Better Call Saul type guy. But the thing is, like, I was the DA, but then this shit happened, and I realized something. The Falcones and the cops are the same fucking thing. The freaks of the city, they're more the victims, and that's why I'm looking out for them. So he's the reason why you get a rotating door of like people just going to Arkham and getting out so easy, because he knows the system. So you get him. He's basically one of the main reasons why villains keep on getting out. And then on top of that, if he doesn't have the evidence or doesn't have the thing to back up his case, he has maybe like two lesser villains, like as backup, kind of work in the shadows, kind of covering like the more like aristocracy. Someone like Magpie for that, you know, kind of like can blend into that. And then maybe someone like, I don't know, more rough and tumble kind of villain of some sort, like I don't know, Blockbuster or Solomon Grundy for like the grunts.
I like that idea. I think that'd be kind of a cool way to see about that. You know, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Two-Face and even these other ones, because
to forge his evidence if he needs to.
Yeah, because he has that ability and so on. But
sorry, I derailed it. But yeah,
well, I was just saying, Bane. Yeah, so he kind of pretty much mangles all of Bruce's friends except for Catwoman. You know, there is that part too where when they're kind of working up towards the ending battle, and there's that really cool, it's like a splash panel of like Batman and Alfred's got like a chain machine gun, minigun thing going on, and they're getting ready to go to war against Bane. And I can't remember if this is yet, because everybody's telling him like, okay, well, you got the venom, Bruce. Like whenever you're gonna need it, you know, use that venom. You know, we can't let Bane win and everything like that. And Batman goes, it's like a 2-issue battle, but like there's a lot of stuff that's kind of cut in between there of Batman going off to battle Bane and really taking him on, and gets very epic and so on like that. And they're going to show down in like the Coliseum area, which I want to say was the same Coliseum that Croc fought in back in.
It is, yeah.
So they can kind of go back and forth, and it gives it almost that like, almost like the super epic version of like Return of the Dragon, of like Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris, except for you got Bane and Batman here fighting each other. B&B.
I actually want to say something. I want to go back for a minute.
Yeah.
Just about the part where like where Alfred has like the minigun, and then Catwoman comes in and kind of like stops them, and it's the whole like, Selena, been a while, this and that, whatever. And obviously Alfred and Selena already got off on the wrong foot. They already don't like each other. And then like Batman looms over Selena, says like, I don't need advice. She's leaving right fucking now. They look pissed. You turn the page. They are immediately fucking. Like, that's something that I kind of like, because I feel like Batman Prime would generally be like, the mission. The mission is more important than pussy. Always the mission more. This Batman's 24.
Yeah.
And like a young guy who is not like gone to the monastery. He's not done all this shit. He hasn't seen the love of his life in ever how many years. And he just got out of like the torture, like murder, cyber dungeon. Like, we're fucking.
Yeah. It's not Bruce where he goes on his Jesus journey for like 12 years and whatnot and hangs out with monks and everything like that, or by the time I think he gets back in like 30s, it's like, I'm the Buddhist version of Batman here. Don't worry about me.
Like me hooking up and all that, that's almost more for the facade. I'll do it. It's fun. It's nice.
Yeah.
I like it from time to time.
I mean,
but it's
generally they gotta like, roofie my drink first, and then maybe I'll be willing.
That's how my son got here. Yeah, I know. But then like,
Dad, would you stop bringing that story up at parties? Damien, it's a good story. That's why I bring it up. People like it. It says it brings a lot of character to me.
Every one of my birthdays, you bring it up too. We're just trying to hit the fucking pinata. Paw Patrol pinata. I just kind of like that little characterization, because this Batman still is very serious, but he's a lot more headstrong, kind of rushes into things more than like Batman Prime. But the idea that like, this Batman's still human. This Batman's still like, it's not just for the act. This Batman, like, he's gonna like, no. We're cutting off the mission, Alfred. We're cutting off the mission, and then cutting back to like, no, they're just fucking.
Yeah, exactly. So there is just that. And yeah, just this Batman being the young buck version, But yeah, this I guess all still leads us towards that final Bane showdown and whatnot. And Batman pretty much wants to prove that he can defeat Bane without having to use drugs. Because once again, Batman, 1988 style. Remember, kids, drugs are bad. If you have a mortal enemy that is turning into an abomination, kaiju monster thing like that, you could still beat him with pure will alone.
I do like the idea, like, drugs bad.
Okay. Yeah, drugs bad. I mean, yeah, I took some venom once. I like to party and shit, but time and place for that. I learned it was stupid and wasn't worth it.
I had to put down the Motley Crue album and I had to start putting some Mozart back on.
Yeah, I stopped drinking heroin through like a fucking fire hose. And
I put away the Batman of Zurathahar, like seriously.
Yeah.
That thing's actually come back a big way in the I'm currently working through the Chip Zdarsky run in Batman. I'm working my way through that, and that shit came back in a big bad way. I'm like,
interesting.
It's in every graphic novel of his that finds a way in there, whether it's him or Failsafe doing it. But yeah. Anyway, he really likes Zirathahar, but yeah. Going back to this though, yeah, like I do like the thing where like they kind of come down to it where we're gonna fight here at this. We're gonna prove to you we don't need Venom, but the thing is, and technically he kind of gets the help of a bunch of other people. Like, well, Batman didn't really do it alone, did he? Well, the thing is, he's not playing fair, and neither is Bane. So it's just kind of like, what's it going to be? Either like kaiju fight or just cheat another way, So and the thing is, this Bane is as big as he is. This Bane as big as he is when he's like generally on Venom already. Where where when he's actually takes Venom in this version, he becomes like this like muscly, almost Akira like blob monster almost. That's how he looks almost. He's still like humanoid.
That's probably the best way to describe it. It's very Akira-like. Is he just gets bigger and bigger and just keeps absorbing more because he doesn't want to lose this fight against Batman, so he keeps going past the limit.
When an eye pops out of his socket.
Yeah, and the weird thing too is like at first like his head stays kind of small. He's got this ginormous body, and then he just takes it to the full limit. And Batman's still able to beat him because he's Batman. Of course, what'd you expect? You thought Bane was going to win this book? Hell no.
And that's where you have like during this fight, that's where like Selina is kind of giving him back up from a distance. The Harley Quinn, I think, fires a rocket launcher at some point or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right.
And then Waylon comes back because at some point, like Waylon is begging Bruce to kill him. He says like, "I can't do it, Way. I can't do it." He's like, "I should have left you to rot." And he leaves, and he comes back and he's helping Bruce out, and he's fighting in the very ring that he won that battle against Bibbo, and he helps Bruce take down Bane. Like
is this the part where he's
almost kind of snake-like. He kind of like crawls all over him. He's like biting into him.
There's a part where Batman literally like rides fucking Croc, like
he's Yoshi.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like there's a very shit. I always wanted this. Wait a second, I never want to be Yoshi. It was one thing that you always called me player too, but now you're making me. Now I'm Yoshi to you. He's like, wait, let's be honest. Like, who's green and mean?
Yeah. It's like punch in the back of his head. Meow, meow. Like, I make the noise sound effect too. Shit.
So there's that too. Even though I think that actually happened a little bit earlier when he's riding him in. But yeah, so Batman's taking on Bane with the full team and everything. Actually, there's one thing I wanted to say too. Does Batman make his money in this story by betting everything on fucking Waylon in that fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's it. Like that's it, and that's how I became a billionaire.
Well, he's not even a billionaire.
I don't think he's like a billionaire. He's just got more money in a sense, but.
That's just how
it just sounds like a fun thing. Well, how did Batman get rich? Well, he was really into betting and gambling.
Yeah. Well, he stole the money from Falcone's estates and then used that as leverage and bet it all against Falcone. And they didn't really leave the thing because like Falcone's like, "I'll kill you, Wayne. I'll kill you." But like I guess he just got really good at hiding. But I mean, I could see that. But like, I guess this is how the money he got for this is how he probably. He's not a millionaire, but just enough money to like probably put the suit together to start, I guess, the Batman project, probably to mod, get stuff to like build up, like because a lot of the stuff he's taken, but he's also still probably needs resources to like modify it the way he wants to.
Yeah, it says this is just at least how he was able to pay for like the Batman stuff. Kind of answers some of those questions there, which I thought I just thought it was funny. I was like, how did Batman win? Gambling. That's how Batman gets there.
He's on DraftKings.
Absolute Batman. Brought to you by DraftKings.
He used that like Kevin Hart, like use promo code.
Yeah. Gambling problem? Call. This goes like one of those things afterwards.
Call Kevin Hart or Batman, one or the other.
But
but then he ends up I want to say like they extract with the help of Riddler, they extract the venom from Batman, put it in a couple syringes, and then fire that into Bane, and then it's too much for him, and eventually Bane just more or less like pops because he's not dead though, because he's just like this constantly regenerating, constantly healing mass, but he's just basically a pile of just muscle. And he beats Batman, and Batman beats him, and then they just like kick him into the bay basically, the dump truck.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and then like at the very end at the lab or whatnot, it's like his brain, his eyes, like his spine, like that's all that's left or whatnot. Like
Jennifer Connelly at the end of Battle Angel Alita.
Yeah, so they're like regrowing him.
I know there's probably other versions I could have said, but yeah, it's growing, and then like Joker pops up on the screen like, "Hey Bane, so I understand that didn't really go as planned, but it's not the end of the world. But I do think you do need more motivation. So for that, we are going to bomb your country, kill everyone, so you could focus on what really matters. And then that last shot is just like Bane's eye just wide open as you see like basically a mushroom cloud, and like you see Bane's family like looking up from like as a plane flies by over. So it's just like, Jesus Christ, like this.
Yeah,
is
just dropping bombs, and that's literally the end of the book.
That's the end of the book.
So that's what we're going to leave you off with. It's a happy Batman story. Ends off well with an island being blown up.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering if this is going to be a thing where they expect you to kind of like, he has it out for Batman, but if he has it more out for Joker, possibly even. I don't know. I could see it possibly subjecting your expectations with that, but like, you do feel a little bad for Bane in that context because this was his last job and he's done horrible things, but like, it's also because like his father's like, because the mask he wears, it still is like the black and the white, but he has like kind of like these fake teeth. It almost looks like there's like a bird on his mask, which must be like the flag of his country. Mm-hmm. And his father had this vision of like, you know, like you leading us with great fire behind you and this and that. Like, and he's like, oh no, he had the vision, but as a son destroying the country, not saving it. So like, that kind of thing. I was just like, I mean, and plus the idea of, because like Bane had it in his head, like, I'm special, I am the chosen one, I am the one. But then like Batman's like, you're not fucking shit, you know. So
yeah, you ain't Batman.
Pretty much.
Whose name's on the fucking comic book cover? Yeah, that's right. It doesn't say Absolute Bane, does it?
It doesn't say absolute bitch. It says absolute Batman.
But yeah, overall though, I thought this one was still solid. I liked it a lot. It definitely feels like with these Absolute Batman ones, I almost need to go through and read them again, and I feel like I'll get even more out of them because you do. Once again, you gotta. There's so much going on, especially in the second one. I feel like even just in this podcast, I felt like I was learning more about how this story was, you know. And after just reading through it and so on, not too long ago. But there is just a copious amount of like little details in between everything, and I think it's sort of the way that also the storytelling is with its Tarantino-esque back forth. Sometimes different characters are narrating and so on like that, you know. Excellent storyline, but sometimes I think it does get a little bit convoluted because of that, you know. And it does work. I'm not saying that it's not like that there, but sometimes it's like, well, what's this? What's this part here? Is this there? Oh, that's what's going on, you know.
Well, I think if one thing happens, it always ties back around. It always makes sense, but it's over the top. But the one thing is, I hear people say it's so try hard. Like, it can be try hard as long as it actually kind of like everything it's saying kind of comes back around. Sometimes if it's just being try hard, just being silly and stupid, I mean, that can be fun. But the fact is, how many like perfect like metaphors or things or like parallels that kind of like come back around that kind of cover every character the way they do. You know what I mean? Whether it be like a representation of what the original is to this, or just within the story itself. Like I think there's a lot of that, so, and I think that kind of helps. Like if it is a little too try hard for you, then it's a little too try hard for you. But for me, I mean, I think the try hardness is kind of fun, but then I think we see how much thought actually goes into the characterization as well as the story and how it all makes sense in that way.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, you know, because it is the depth's there. It's really deep, actually. And just the fact that, like, there is just a lot of layers, though, that I feel almost like a second read through and so on. And, you know, would definitely add more to it. As I said, I almost want to reread the first one, too, because you do got to kind of absorb this one a little bit differently than your standard Batman, that you kind of already have the built-up knowledge of time that you can rely on. This one here, it's like everything's shuffled and so on. But no, I totally look forward to number 3 and seeing where this goes. As I said, I'm just kind of waiting for the graphic novels. I'm just going that way, you know. And as I said, I wouldn't mind checking out the other absolutes as well, too, especially with Wonder Woman coming out soon, which means Superman's probably coming out really soon then, too.
Yeah, I think Superman comes out right after Wonder Woman, so we'll see if we have time for that one. I'm more looking forward to Wonder Woman, but I still really like Superman.
Yeah. The other one that I know I mentioned this to you, too, is that there's that third Long Halloween book that it felt like that just came out of nowhere. I didn't hear anything about that.
Is it actually done, or is it
came out it says at the end of January. I saw the graphic novel popped up on there.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and so it pretty much
The Last
has.
Halloween, is that called?
Yeah, it's called The Last Halloween, and it's got like of course Jeff Loeb writing it, and then there's a little bit of artwork somehow, some way from Tim Sale. God knows where that came from. It's probably like Jimi Hendrix, where like they keep finding fucking albums of his. As you keep digging down farther into the earth, there's more Jimi Hendrix albums being made. But each issue though has like they have like super artists on that one too. It's not just like they got anybody. They get like the biggest of the big to like fill in that story. So I almost kind of want to pick that one up too soon.
So this was actually originally going to be I remember hearing about it, and then it just kind of came out and people stopped talking about it. This was originally going to be a story that Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale were going to do together. Then Tim Sale, of course, unfortunately passed. And then they took the concept, but then every issue, I think Tim Sale did a couple of covers because they were talking about it way ahead of time before he passed. And then they have every issue has a different artist on it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it goes. But as I said, the names on there were really big and so on. So I'm kind of excited. Anyways.
I wonder if it takes place back in the old continuity or if it's just moving forward, but taking like the same elements. But you know what I mean?
I think it's supposed to be like a third one to like a trilogy,
But I mean, like, because Hush 2 came out, but then which I haven't read yet. But like that one takes place now and does not take place in the old continuity. It's more of just what makes it Hush 2 is it's Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. Hush is back and he has another scheme.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll take a look at that too, because Jim Lee hasn't like fully drawn something, it seems like, in a while. It seems like he's kind of just always doing, and I get it, the variant covers and so on like that, because that is like that's like the prime job, I guess, of like the if you're at the top tier of your comic book game is when you get to the point where you just do specialty covers, which are kind of misleading to I feel the people buying them, because there's nothing worse than you see a cover, you go, oh man, he's drawing this, and then you open it up and it's like, oh, the inside's not that, though. Oh, that's a bummer. I thought Frank Miller was drawing Jurassic Park. No. It's some other guy.
Sam Neill in that Batman pose.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so sometimes I always think that's kind of a misleading concept. That's why a lot of times I like the artwork on the cover to be the exact same as the interior so that you're not led astray. But, I get it for like a job though. It's like the perfect one. Yeah, I just draw a couple pictures a month or whatever. They pay me the big bucks.
Yeah, no, I get
Strut
it.
myself. I don't have to. I'm not fucking working the grind. I'm not like in that manga time where I got fucking 24 pages. I got to pump out every 2 fucking weeks for Shonen Jump.
You can jump on this fucking dick right here. That's what I say. No, I want to read Hush too. It's just that the thing is, I want to say the first 2 issues came out, people were talking shit, and then it was a little late, and then eventually that's what kind of happens a lot of times. A lot of times, like when they have like a big return of something, it doesn't meet expectations. 1 issue is late, and everyone forgets that the others came out. Like, oh yeah, that's out there if you want to read it, sure. So I wouldn't mind. I of course want to read Hush too. I'll be honest, I don't know if Jeff Loeb. I think he can be a good writer, but I wouldn't call him like a favorite writer. He has a few favorite books of mine, but the thing is, he also has like some shit like what was going on this day. So I feel if his name pops up, I'm still at least interested, and especially if it's something like, because now like people don't even look back on like a lot of people don't look back on Hush like that nostalgically, because it's it for a lot of people who were reading Batman for a while at a time. Like, okay. It's a bunch of his usual villains, and it's drawn by Jim Lee. The artwork looks good. What else do we want to say? The new villain comes in. It's very obviously who the new villain is. Like, yeah, but it was kind of a jumping on point for me. So for me, it's kind of like,
yeah,
yeah. I kind of get the criticism, but for me, I'm like, I really like that one.
Yeah, same here. I mean, and I think that one, at the end of the day, that Hush book is one of the best gateway books you can hand somebody for comics, or for Batman at least, it's comics in general too. Like, just like, here you go, get into that. And it's the same way I also look at Long Halloween. I still look at Long Halloween as one of the most solid entries, that and its sequel, of Batman that you can have. And yeah, it is kind of your standard bread and butter characters, I guess, but that's not a bad thing sometimes when it's done right.
Long Halloween was still really good. It just had, there was like one big like plot plot hole of like there's two killers that are working independently, but they still kind of like the things still click into place perfectly. But I guess if you want to just give it all the charitability, you could hear like, oh, they heard them. I shouldn't have to do this, but like, oh, they heard that someone else killed someone that night, so they're just like, fuck it, I won't do it. I won't do it tonight because I overheard through the grapevine someone else got murdered. But fine. So maybe it could be something like that. But it's regardless, it's the moments, the art, the moment to moments, the character development, and the artwork is still amazing.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, knowing that there's that Hush 2 out there, I wouldn't mind checking that out. I haven't seen that one pop up yet. Maybe that's not in graphic novel form yet. And
I think it's about Hush 2. I think it's either it's just came out or it's about to come out.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. And as I said, I wouldn't mind reading that Long Halloween 3. You know, at the end of the day, even if it's maybe not the best one, it doesn't matter. It's like those are those things. There's so many comics to choose from, but still, I'm like, I'll go with one of those ones. Let's see what they have to offer there. You know. But yeah, the Absolute series is still killing it. I'm still excited for the rest of them and seeing where it goes. I wouldn't mind catching up on some of the other ones, but there always is a point too where you're like, oh, maybe I'll pick and choose where I go from here. You know, but if I get around to it, maybe I'll check out Green Lantern. But you know, if I don't, I'm not too worried either.
That's the one that people say that's like they say it's good, but it's not like as good as like the others. That's what everyone's saying. But you know, I wouldn't mind checking it out regardless. I'm curious enough.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll check out anything. I've kind of given them points.
I'd rather read Martian Manhunter first because I really like that writer.
Yeah, and I've seen some other books of that same artist. You know, that's kind of interesting. So yeah, check those bad boys out. You know, and yeah, there's been some other good books I've been reading too. I was just gonna say them real quick. There's this one that's manga that I ran across called Mujina Into the Deep. I don't know how you pronounce that J because it's a Japanese thing, but Mujina or Muhina if you're in California. But that one, like, dude, I just kind of stumbled across that, popped up. I'm like, hey, you might like this thing, and then I grabbed the Viz account, and if there was a reason why, like, it's going to be harder than any time ever to sell independent comics, dude, the Viz account is $2 a month and you get their entire catalog. It's like, get the fuck out. It's either I could buy each book for $10 a piece or I could read all of them for $2 a month. And I was just like, so I'm like, well, shit, I got it for that. And then I'm like, it's got Black Lagoon on there too. So I started up because I had a couple of the books already, but I'm like, well, shit, for $2 a month, fuck, I'll read them on here then, you know. And kind of cool thing, I know I'm jumping off this, but the Black Lagoon one is, you know, the anime is only like the first 6 or 8 books or something like that, maybe not even that many. And then the dude, he's been making them to this day, but he does them like slow make. So he makes them kind of like the way that the Hellsing guy did, where it's not like he's not peer pressured like Shonen Jump to make a fucking chapter every 2 weeks, and the story gets kind of boring after a while, where it's like, well, what's he doing? Fuck, he's fighting for the next 3 years. I don't know. That's it. At least I know what I'm doing when I come into work every day.
I thought the one where the maid comes back and like did that special like return series. I thought that was like the last one. I didn't know they were still making new Black Lagoons.
Yeah, the one where that maid comes back, that's only like book 6 or 7. There's like 13 or 14 books.
Shit. I
want to catch up on it. So I say, if you want to catch up on it, $2 a month for Viz is fucking ridiculous. Well, whatever.
It's available here, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's that too. But that Mujina Into the Deep, like that one, I just was like, I just need to check out something new, you know, and this one is like, what I really always want is I like those books that are in that kind of Black Lagoon style. That's like the kind, I'm drawing a blank on what that's called, because it's pretty much the books for old people in a sense. That's at the end of the day. That's like what it means in Japan. Are you fucking old? Do you not need that teen angst anymore? This category, you know. And don't get me wrong. Like I like the certain shonen ones, but sometimes after a while, you can only read so many of the shonen ones before you're like, okay, this is the same fucking thing again. You know what I mean? Just same thing, different generation. That's all it is. You know, bread and butter. Like I've seen this since the 70s. But
you need your friends. You need do kung fu. Cool. Yeah.
I mean, and over around this Mujina the Deep, yeah, it's girls running around a city with fucking swords battling people out, but it's got some pretty badass looking artwork in it and so on. Even though the dude clearly uses for the backgrounds, he's just like getting like CG things and converting them over or something like that. That might be what the people do nowadays. Whatever. I'm not judging anybody. We all know backgrounds are hard, but story-wise, just kind of cool. It's just these girls, these Mujinas or whatnot. I guess a guy could be one too, but it's anime, so it's only girls. They're like not considered citizens or whatever at all. They're just these like outcast people. And so by that standard, they can freely kill people and be hired to do that and so on. It's not that big of a deal. Their life also isn't worth anything too, so you could kill them and you don't get punished too. But it's just these characters kind of going through, and you have your main chick, and then you have like the crazy wild one too, and you think they would be enemies, but they actually end up working together. And then they're just kind of living in this family dynamic with a couple other people. It's like this old 40-year-old game programmer guy who's just kind of burnt out on life, but he seems to like take in all these people with his business for what he's got. And just the stuff they go through, like I was just really engaged the whole way through, and just like, oh shit, it gets dark, it gets brutal. And
I'm looking it up right now. So
yeah, dude, I read the entire thing so far. I'm totally caught up. It was one of those ones where I was like, shit, this is a good book, And it was sometimes that one like you'll try a lot of mangas, and it's just like I'll read a couple of issues or whatever you want to call them, and go, if by issue 3 or 4 it doesn't really capture me, I'm like, next one. And this one I was just like, oh dude, this one was sick. And
very distinct art character style.
Yeah, the artwork was really
blend in.
Yeah, and just like there's a lot of like that almost like fisheye lens look kind of to a lot of the shots, and you could tell that he's using like every tool on the computer to fucking achieve a lot of this stuff, Yeah. But
well,
yeah,
I'm checking that out. I gotta flick through that back there if you want.
Yeah,
this. So
there's always that
down here that you can't see. But I wouldn't mind reading a couple of those and Black Lagoon. I know Black Lagoon is still going. I just assumed that was the where the maid comes back was the last one. But yeah. So that dude's still doing it, and I like the idea that he's slow making them. Like he's not once again pressured into that, because I think that makes a better book. We all know that with so many of those shonens that's why they start off like the first 3 books are mostly really good, and then all of a sudden you get to like the rest of them, you're like they're just fucking fighting the whole time. I kind of fell off Sakamoto days.
That's what happened to me too. Like that book starts off great. The first 3 or 4 or 5 books were good, and then it's kind of the same thing over and over again. And I think it's just, I hate to first say, it's like that shonen style of like you having to pump out a fucking issue every other week or every week or whatever. Just I don't think it makes for the greatest like creative environment for those stories. Like they probably would work better if like that Hellsing dude spent a year on every single one of those books. Like I think that's the way you should do it. I mean, I know that kind of sucks when you're waiting for one, but I felt like that delivered, like in those 10 books, I'm not complaining on a single one of them.
Yeah. No, I'd be up for that. I need to just take your time with it, but I wouldn't mind checking those ones out. But I actually got to get going here. But yeah, we'll see next time episode we can do. This originally we were just going to have a casual comic book or just casual bullshit episode, and then this came out. Like, oh, well.
Yeah, Batman came out. You're like, well,
priorities.
Gotta talk Batman, nothing but the
other
best,
than the top 10 films, I think every episode I've been on like these are like Batman, or comic book oriented shit. So I'm just becoming the guy like, I'm not coming on unless we're talking about fucking comic books or anime, So I'm becoming that guy. But I'll make more time for it. Yeah.
But yeah, well, beyond all that good stuff, you can always check out all the Old Man Orange, Silent Evil, and even via VHS. Go to Spotify and YouTube for all that good stuff. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunnigan.
And we'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.